Story title: Meeting Our Son Before He Was Born. Author name: Venus Valkyrie J.H. So this happened about 7 or 8 years ago. My husband and I were laying in the bed one night, watching television. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw a child in the doorway of our bedroom. Thinking it was our child at the time, I tapped my hubby and said, "Hey, shh, B, look, but I think Connor is going to try to scare us." He turns and looks, and this child walks into our room. I can't explain it, because it was one of those moments that seemed somehow different. We watched in silence, soon realizing that this child was not our son. He toddles in, head slightly tilted back, curls bouncing and diaper squish squish squishing as he goes to the end of our bed. We see his head go down, like he was crouching, and when we got up to look, he was gone. I looked at Chris, my husband, and said, "Did we just see a ghost?" Then, almost as an afterthought, I said, "Well, we know if we have another baby and he has curls, that he was here before he was born." We both laugh, because we're not trying for another baby at the time. Fascinated, we go to check on our son, and he was fast asleep. A few months later, I'm pregnant. Surprise! So fast forward, and our new baby, Liam, is 2. He toddles in the room, head tilted slightly back, and curls bouncing. And it hit me like a bucket of ice water. Holy crap. This is the baby that came to visit us. I mean, there's absolutely no doubt in my mind. Now, on top of that, whenever Liam is staying the night elsewhere, like with my parents, he comes to visit me in my sleep. For example, one time he came and just smiled at me while I was taking a nap. He was in a little red shirt, and his hair was cut short. He left with it long. The next day I go pick up the kiddos from mom, and lo and behold, his hair is freshly shorn, and he's wearing a little red shirt. I ask my mom, "Did he wear this yesterday?" And she replies, "Oh yeah, he did, but he insisted on wearing it today, so he is." So I look at him and say, "Did you go see Mama yesterday in Mama's dreams?" He just looked at me, he was 4, all big blue eyes and serious, and nodded his head. So that's my glitch in the Matrix story. One of many, but the most profound. Our son, I guess, travels via the astral plane, and even stopped to see us before he was born. I would know those curls anywhere. The fact that my husband witnessed it with me makes it even more weird, but utterly fascinating. Personal thoughts. You know, I'm always fascinated by people who have the ability to visualize their dreams, and then their dreams become predictions. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that when you first saw your son, that it was a dream, and especially because your husband saw it with you, it does seem more likely that your son is just able to project himself forward, or in the moment. But before he was even born, that is fascinating. I wonder if you've ever experienced anything else like this. You said that you experienced other glitches, but are they related to predicting the future, or more with your son doing it? I have never personally had any experiences like this. It must feel weird, but also almost empowering. Like you have a handle on the world that other people don't, or at least your son does. If anyone has had these experiences before, like astral projection, where you can project yourself into other places or even near to other people, this usually would happen when you're sleeping. Well, let me know in the comments. Second story. Story title: I remember a family member committing suicide, but he's now alive. Author name: Glorious Gnome 13. Hey, this is my first post on Reddit. I recently discovered this sub, and as I've been reading stories, I realized that this is a great place to post this story. Back in the early 2000s, I remember vividly my mom telling me that my cousin, Jay, had shot and killed himself. I remember it being a big deal because he had a few kids, and they were concerned if the mothers would still let my aunt and uncle see them. He has 3 baby mamas. We all talked about how bad we felt for his kids. Fast forward to a year ago, I got a call from my mom. She starts telling me all about how Jay was engaged and getting married. She wanted to take my kids to get a dress. I was so confused. I kept thinking to myself, I thought he died. I just kind of went with it so I didn't sound like a complete jerk and delusional, but I was going through some mental confusion badly. I remember he died. After that call, all of a sudden, Jay is around all of the time, at family gatherings, etc. I never said anything to anyone, but I have been horribly weirded out by his memory. He hasn't been around at all since I remember he died. I hadn't seen him or heard his name for 15 or more years. All of a sudden, he's just there, alive. I seem to be the only one who is confused. I finally said something to my mom last night after reading stories here and deciding I should see if anyone else has had this memory. She had no idea what I was talking about, and now probably thinks her daughter is losing her mind. This is really bothering me, and I can't understand why I have this memory, and he's just around now. It's incredibly creepy to me. Edit. I was finally able to talk to my sisters last night. I told them about my memory of Jay shooting himself. They all looked at me in surprise. None of them have this memory. We all convinced my mom to call our uncle, Jay's dad, and my mom's brother, to casually ask about Jay's whereabouts the last 15 years. My uncle told her that he just disappeared for about 10 years after an argument with them, and they just figured he was mad and would come back when he got over it. Apparently, they have been all talking again for 3 or more years before I found out that he wasn't dead after all. None of this explains why my memory was so different. He wasn't in jail as most people have commented. That would be pretty messed up to only make me believe he was dead and not the rest of my family. It's a complete mystery. Personal thoughts. While reading this, I was thinking, do you have any family members that are of similar name? Perhaps your mind nudged in a certain name, but it wasn't that person that had died. So my only suggestion right now that would be logical would be to find out if any family member, regardless of their name or who they were to you, had killed themselves. Because if they did, perhaps your memory superimposed on top of it over the years. I know memory can be fickle. As we think back, we're actually recreating it. It's not like storage on a hard drive, where the zeros and ones are always in the right place. Memory is very transient, and it's always reconstituted at the moment that we go look for it and recollect it. I'm not saying you're wrong, though. I'm just offering that up as a potential solution. Now, if you are correct, then that would be very bizarre. It would almost be like you crossed over to another dimension. There's always that possibility. Although, if absolutely nothing else is different in your world, then maybe it's not that. But I'm not sure what else it would be. The issue is, it wasn't just your mom telling you. You discussed it with a bunch of other people as well, about how bad you felt for his kids. So, it's either a collective delusion that happened many, many years ago, or you did cross over to another reality. Has anyone else ever experienced anything like this? Not necessarily memories that don't add up, but just things that are out of place. Let me know. And if you like the video, hit it with a like.